Tonight, a community begins the long healing process after a plane full of women and children crashes in rural Alaska. Federal investigators are on scene, and so are we.
Plus, the plane that carried those crash victims is popular with bush pilots. We'll take you inside a Cessna 208.
And prepare to be amazed. We'll have a guided tour of the state-of-the-art facility that is now the home of KTVA.
And now, first in Alaska, this is the KTVA 11 Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Joe Vigil.
And I'm Emily Carlson.
Tonight we have live team coverage on the plane crash that killed 4 people in rural Alaska.
The Cessna aircraft with 10 people on board took off from Bethel Friday night on its way to Mountain Village, but the plane ended up crashing near St. Mary's landfill that's less than 1 mile from St. Mary's Airport.
The NTSB continues to investigate the crash.
Weather delayed investigators for 2 days from getting out to that site. Now the weather is making it difficult for them to work quickly. High winds on the hillside where the plane crashed dropped temperatures well below zero. Investigators arrived at the site yesterday afternoon and say they didn't have much daylight left, so most of the work had to be done today. Investigators say the plane had state-of-the-art GPS and de-icing equipment and was outfitted to fly in any weather conditions. Right now they're looking for the buildup on the plane to see what impact that may have had on the crash. Investigators say it can be difficult to figure out the cause when the pilot dies in the wreck as well.
We always would rather have a pilot to talk to tell us what happened, but we will hopefully get some good information from the surviving passengers, and then we'll be able to. Then we're just going to take every piece of information that we can get from the scene here, from witnesses at the airport, from the passengers, and hopefully we'll be able to figure out what went wrong.
Investigators say all the field work should be done today.
They'll then move the wreckage site to a secure location where they can look at it more thoroughly. Well, the tiny town of Mountain Village is home to just a few hundred people, and the loss of 4 in Friday's crash is devastating.
KTVA 11's Heather Hintze joins us live from Mountain Village via Skype. Now, Heather, it also took a community effort to rescue all those survivors.
Well, that's right, Joe. Friday night, people dropped whatever they were doing and rushed to the crash site as soon as they heard the news. There were more than 50 people from St. Mary's, Mountain Village, and another nearby village of Pitcairn Point. And the Mountain Village city manager, Brenda Brown, was there to help transport people Friday night. She's been in touch with the Pulte family, who lost both Richard and Rose Pulte in that crash. And Brown says Richard was known around town by the nickname Blackie and was extremely outgoing and friendly. She says Rose used her last moments of life to call for help and let rescuers know where the plane had crashed. Brown says the Pultes will be greatly missed by everyone in town.
They're a perfect match. They really lived out their marriage vows, and where the ending of the vows says just do part. No, that didn't take them apart.
And a memorial fund has been set up for the Pulte family. You can make a donation at any Alaska USA bank under the name Renee Pulte. Emily and Joe, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Heather. The 6 survivors remain at local hospitals tonight, surrounded by family.
KTVA 11's Alexis Fernandez has been talking to relatives over the past few days and joins us live with the latest on their conditions. Alexis.
Well, Emily and Joe, we are here at Alaska Native Medical Center, where 2 of the plane crash survivors are still recovering from their injuries. Now, one of those passengers is 25-year-old Melanie Coffey, who is currently in fair condition. She was traveling with her 5-month-old Wyatt Coffey, who did not survive. The other passenger is 37-year-old Pauline Johnson, who is also in fair condition. Now, over at Providence, there are 3 passengers. 14-year-old Kylan Johnson was thankfully released today. 35-year-old Tanya Lawrence is in fair condition, as well as Shannon Lawrence. Now, the last passenger is 30-year-old Garrett Moses, who is also in fair condition. I spoke to a relative of Moses who said that he is recovering well and went into surgery today. We also talked to a resident of Marshall who tells us a little bit about what this type of crash, what kind of impact it has to the surrounding communities. Here's what she had to say.
Everybody's pretty much closely knit, just like one big family. So when there's a tragedy, a death, it pretty much affects everybody.
Again, 5 of the 6 passengers still recovering at 2 local hospitals. 1 was released today. Reporting live from Alaska Native Medical Center, Alexis Fernandez, KTVA 11 News.
And weather conditions in the area kept federal investigators from getting to the scene right away.
And weather may have been a factor in the crash as well. For a look at the skies above St. Mary's, here is Chief Meteorologist Carlos Fora. Carlos?
Well, it is important to keep in mind that the cause of the crash may not have been weather. We do not know that. Of course, investigators will be working on that. But what we do know is that when they took off from Bethel on Friday evening, the temperatures were actually in the 30s. The wind was light. The turbulence was not forecast at all. Visibility was moderate. It was 10 miles and the ceiling was about 1,200 feet. That's the bottom of the cloud. So conditions were visual flight rules to fly. And as we take a look at 1 hour later, the wind and turbulence had not changed, but the visibility had dropped from 10 miles to 2.5 miles, and the clouds had dropped down to about 300 feet, which means it was IFR conditions. So what the investigators will be encountering tonight is just some cloudy conditions, possibility of some thick fog out there. Temperatures are going to be dropping down to about 20 degrees. Tomorrow's high is going to be about 30 degrees, and the clouds will be increasing. Chance of snow showers tomorrow night for investigators as they take a look at what took place with this crash.
All right, thank you so much, Carlos. Air Alaska, the company that owns Hagelin Aviation, is flying in family members who need help with transportation. Steve Smith, a spokesperson with Air Alaska, says the company is providing free flights for the immediate family members of crash victims from Mountain Village into Anchorage.
We're in communication with them. We're trying to anticipate what they may need. We have a staff that we've brought in specifically to help us with that. They'll be with them the whole time.
Over the weekend, the president of Hagelin Aviation traveled to Mountain Village to meet with employees and the community.
Longtime Alaska pilots say the kind of plane that crashed Friday night has a poor history of icing. Hagelin Air, which owns the plane, has 20 Cessna 208s in its Bethel fleet. That's about 1/3 of the 60 planes the company flies in western Alaska. Dave Wilder has been flying in Alaska for the past 40 years. He flies Cessna 208s because they fit a dozen passengers and have plenty of room for cargo. However, Wilder says he will only fly the Cessna 208 in favorable weather conditions. He says the Cessna should not be flown in poor conditions as it rapidly forms ice in the wings.
You've got to be wise enough to know the airplane, to know the weather that you're going into, and we just typically do not fly into no and icing. We always have to be ready to turn around. That's just the way life is.
Again, we want to make it clear that the cause of the crash has not been determined. When tragedy hits a small community like Mountain Village, it can take years for the shock to wear off.
Later tonight, we'll take a look at how other villages have dealt with the emotional fallout of a rural plane crash.
And next, we take you on an all-access tour of KTVA's new home. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
You're watching Alaska's high-definition news leader with Joe Vigil, Emily Carlson, Chief Meteorologist Carlos Fora, and sports with Dave Goldman. This is the KTVA 11 Evening News.
Well, it's time to show you something we're pretty proud of here at the new KTVA.
Yes, it's a snapshot of a year's worth of work that brought us to this beautiful studio and our very first broadcast tonight. KTVA 11's Lauren Maxwell joins us in the studio. And Lauren, lots of changes in a short period of time.
Wow, no kidding. You know, we've always been proud of our station's humble roots in Spenard, but KTVA grew out of that building a long time ago. That's why the move across town has been so exciting. So take a look. We'll show you how this brand new media center came to be.
The new KTVA shares its home with the Anchorage Daily News, but getting the building ready to house a state-of-the-art television station took some work. Demolition started last January. Crews cleared 17,000 square feet of office space on the building's second floor. Next door, other crews began constructing the largest television studio complex in Alaska. With a stage set, the important work could commence, filling the new KTVA with the most advanced high-definition technology available. A modern newsroom began to take shape, with workstations for a staff of more than double the size of the original station. And then this. A dazzling 3,000 square foot studio custom made for the new KTVA by the country's premier set designer.
We've had so much positive response on the set. We tried to create an environment, storytelling environment using the latest technology.
Engineers from around the country descended on Anchorage, and the equipment manifest looks more like a space program than a television station.
325,000 feet of cables and wires, more than 100 computers, close to 300 HD monitors, 46 high-definition cameras, 17 for the field, 9 in the studio, all robotic, all connected right here.
We've spent a lot of time trying to plan out the most efficient way to cover news and to put TV stations on the air.
It's technology that makes it possible to run up to 3 separate television stations at a time and to deliver a new kind of KTVA news for the first time in high definition. A state-of-the-art newsroom where a team of journalists are using the latest technologies to reach Alaskans on air, online, and on time. And a crown jewel of a studio befitting KTVA's legacy as Alaska's first television station.
It's more than a testament to modern engineering. It really is a promise kept by the new owners to take KTVA to an entirely new level. In the end, it's going to be good for journalism, it's going to be good for competition, and it's going to be good for Alaskans.
And it's pretty spiffy. It's our new home. We're excited and we're thrilled that we can share it with you starting tonight.
All right, thank you, Lauren. I remember walking in here in July, visiting, and there was nothing in here.
Yeah,
just
nothing. Blank slate.
Paint, boxes, and now we have all this.
We've come a long way.
Yes, we have. But that's not all. There's a new way to start your day.
KTVA is bringing back the morning news next week, and it's unlike anything Alaska has ever seen. From the comfort of our couch to your home, Daybreak will get you ready for the day ahead. It's a conversation about the news of the day with a whole lot of fun, of course, mixed in. So get up, grab your caffeine, and join James Gaddis, Lori Tipton, and meteorologist Brett Shepard. It all starts Monday, December 9th at 6 a.m. That's 1 week from today.
The holiday shopping spree isn't over yet.
It's just moved to the web. See what local businesses are doing to try and cash in on Cyber Monday.
And after 40 years in Spinard, Lamex is closing its doors. We'll tell you why.
And the cold air is slowly moving out of the area. Question is, what's going to replace it? Forecast is next.
Seen him online, in promos, and yes, even on the back of a bus.
He's pretty handsome, isn't he? Now it's time to see him in action. Joining us is Chief Meteorologist Carlos Fora.
Well, you know what? The weather has been in action quite frequently, and it started out with really cold temperatures. What we're talking about now is fog. Everyone saw some pretty thick fog in the Anchorage Bowl today. This is a look at our KTVA weather cam, and as I put it into motion, you can see at times you can't even see what no one could see here. The fog was pretty thick. Right now we have clear skies outside, and we are looking at temperatures dropping down to about 8 degrees at the airport. Through the Anchorage Bowl, Campbell Creek and Service High School are not checking in right now, but it's pretty obvious what's going on. Temperatures here are pretty cool, but they're definitely milder than we have seen. Although, take a look at elevation. There's a warm area of warm air up above about 1,000 feet, and that's why at Glen Alps and also in Arctic Valley, our temperatures are in the 30s. That's a classic condition for actually formation of some fog. All over the state, we have a ridge of high pressure that is dominating the area, and you can see the cold air has pretty much pooled in the center part of the state. 13 degrees below zero in Fairbanks. It's 13 degrees above zero over in Deadhorse, and the reason why is because this ridge of high pressure that has been with us for a few days here, that is dragging up some warmer air and some clouds. You could see some snowflakes fly along the Arctic today and along the western shores. Here's a look at it, and as you see, if you look really carefully, you can actually see the circulation around that ridge of high pressure, and it is starting to push to the east. Tomorrow, this is what it'll look like. It'll be pushed to the east far enough that we're going to start to get some clouds, maybe some rain showers over in the southwest, and some freezing rain a little bit to the north. Over by Nome, you could see some freezing rain tomorrow, but what we'll be seeing here in Anchorage is just increasing clouds. By the time Thursday comes around, we're thinking that we do have a chance for seeing some snow showers, just of the flurry variety. So meanwhile, the sunrise tomorrow morning is going to take place at 9:51, and then the sunset, of course, is going to be taking place a little bit later in the earlier than it has been, 3:51. So we are losing a few minutes every single day, and it will be doing that probably for the next few weeks, and then it starts to get a little bit more sunshine as we move through winter. So here's what we've got as far as temperatures. Girdwood's going to top out at 19 degrees. You are going to be seeing some patchy fog. In fact, just about everyone here has a chance of seeing some patchy fog, but we all have the certainty of seeing temperatures warm up a little bit warmer than they have been over the last few days. Over in Juneau, you're going to make it to 31 degrees, 39 in Sitka. Fog will also be kind of forming in your area as well. Out in the north interior and the north slope, you can see temperatures pretty cold, 12 degrees below zero in Fairbanks, 22 below zero to start the day in Fort Yukon. You're going to warm up still in the below zero category. Barrow make it to about 23 degrees. Chance of snow in Barrow. It is pretty certain, I think, tomorrow you'll see some snowflakes, but nothing really serious. Over in Willow and Wasilla and Palmer, you'll be from 15 to 20 degrees with mostly sunny skies and high clouds out there. And over in Bethel, you will be about 27 degrees, only dropping down to 20 degrees. So the 7-day forecast looks like this. We can see the ridge of high pressure starts to push on out of the area. We still have one more day of morning fog, 20 degrees for our high temperature. That's almost twice as warm as we were today. The next day, 25 degrees. Chance for snow flurries starts toward the end of the week on Thursday, and it continues all the way through Saturday. But here's the good news. Look at this. Temperatures in the 30s starting on Thursday all the way through the weekend. It is going to look very nice out there.
Looks gorgeous. It's going to be like a heat wave compared to the last couple days.
You bet.
Yeah, the 33 is great. Melt some of that ice out there, and better than the -2s and 3s and 4s. But we're complaining too much. Go to Fairbanks, and they're like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, thanks, Carlos.
You bet.
It's the Monday after Thanksgiving, which means it's Cyber Monday.
The day that many big box retailers offer huge sales on their websites and through your email box. But some mom and pop Anchorage stores are fighting back. How they're trumping those online deals coming up.
And it's the new kid on the block, Giving Tuesday, a newly created shopping day for charities.
Aces Hockey is grinding out a 21-day road trip. We'll check in with the team out on the road, and another Alaska shootout is in the books. What changes are on the way for next year's tournament? That's coming up in sports a little bit later.
After all those hours standing in line in the cold for Black Friday, many are expected to spend the day hunting for deals online from the comfort of their own homes.
And retailers are hoping you will click and spend big time on this Cyber Monday. It's one of the busiest days of the year for Amazon. The company has crews working around the clock filling orders. Last year, Amazon received more than 26 million orders worldwide. That's 306 orders per minute. Amazon says this year will be even busier, which is why it's hired 70,000 seasonal workers, 20,000 more than last year. In 2012, shoppers spent more than $1 billion online. And Cyber Monday is felt by small businesses too. It could mean a boost in internet sales or less money spent at Alaska's mom and pop shops.
Some argue that retailers have an unfair advantage, but local stores we talk to say they've got their own edge.
And while big box retailers and online giants battle for your money, this Thanksgiving weekend, nonprofits are left twiddling their fingers, hoping for the leftovers after shoppers are done spending their money.
So tomorrow, charities, nonprofits, and communities come together to create Giving Tuesday. It's a nationwide effort to counter the effects of consumerism by doing something good for someone else. You can donate to a charity online or find an organization in your neighborhood that could use some help. United Way of Anchorage has some great ideas.
It's about creating opportunities in your community. And so while you filled your shopping basket on, Black Friday and Cyber Monday, on Giving Tuesday, you fill your heart with joy because you make a stronger community.
United Way of Anchorage has a great guide to giving and volunteering in our community here in Anchorage during the holiday season.
And if you'd like to have some more information about that, just head to ktva.com.
The deadline has come and gone for the healthcare website to be fixed.
Up next, see how many people the White House says are now logging on.
And a community in mourning tonight after the deadly St. Mary's plane crash. See why the emotional fallout could last for decades.
This is the KTVA 11 Evening News.
Grief counselors and experts on post-traumatic stress say the fallout from Friday's plane crash near St. Mary's will be felt for years to come.
And will even touch people from beyond the region in some unexpected ways. KTVA 11's Rhonda McBride joins us now with a look at why this tragedy hits so many so hard. Rhonda.
Joe and Emily, any mom who has traveled with a baby on an airplane, especially a small air taxi, has a hard time hearing about the mother who lost her baby in Friday's crash. We talked with an expert on post-traumatic stress today who likened the tragedy to throwing a stone in a lake. The brunt of the force will be felt first by the victims, families, and friends, and then will continue to ripple out.
Here at the Denina Center, there are two tribal conferences going on this week, one for transportation, another for health. Rural Alaskans here in Anchorage, yet feeling the loss in St. Mary's and Mountain Village because they know how hard tragedy hits in a small community.
I think because we know everyone, you know, whether we like them or not, we know them. I hope that that community in that region is feeling our prayers for encouragement.
A chance chat with some women from Marshall, a Yukon River village near St. Mary's. They knew passengers on the plane, including Melanie Coffey, the mother who lost her baby. She's originally from Marshall.
First, we just heard that a plane crashed, and then we heard she was on it. And we knew right there she had a baby. We were sitting with her, in fact, at that Bethel airport when she was waiting to board or waiting for her flight.
Sophie Tiffert also knows one of the seriously injured passengers, Tanya Lawrence, who she calls her best friend. Sophie says people in a village are like one big family, and she worries about the consequences of the grief from such a big loss.
We're pretty much having to deal with it the hard way. I've seen a lot of people get into drinking on account of, you know, things like this, deaths.
Talk. That's what Bob Cheney says is the medicine, that we start talking as soon as possible about how we feel.
So it really is a little bit like a stone going into a lake, and there is a ripple effect. And because many of us travel so much in Alaska by small plane, we're all somewhere on that ripple.
Among the first ripples, the first responders, the health and safety workers who did their best to help.
And so even if someone's further out on the ripple of the effect of the event, they still can have their own issues from the past being brought forward.
Just resurfaces all the emotions, all the emotions.
Emotions that were stirred by Friday's crash, bringing back a tragedy that was a dozen years ago. A 2001 plane crash in Dillingham that took the lives of 10 people. So much grief and so many memorial services.
In our village, we had 3 in one day. My father-in-law, my husband's aunt, 2 aunts, and his dad.
Here at the Denina Center, few walk away without feeling something for those who died and for those who live.
I like that quote, tomorrow's promised to no one, and to hug and cherish your family members today.
The ripples can be reminders of what's really important.
A lot of organizations have stepped in to help. The Yukon-Kuskokwim Health Corporation, based in Bethel, has offered Mountain Village and St. Mary's the services of its postvention team, which goes out to work with communities after a tragedy. Schools in both communities are keeping an eye on students and making counseling available. Also, there will be a stress debrief for village public safety officers in St. Mary's tomorrow. They were among the first to arrive at the crash site.
So Rhonda, what are some of the other things that add to the stress of flying in rural Alaska?
Well, Emily, one woman I spoke with today says that these kind of tragedies get people worried about traveling together in a family, the fear that everyone in a family could be lost at once. But the thing that pilots and those in the aviation industry often point out is that air travel in rural Alaska, for the most part, is safer than being on the road.
All right, thank you so much, Rhonda.
We have another website you can put to the test. Not only did we do an on-air upgrade for you, we also did one online as well.
We've got a brand new state-of-the-art website that made its debut today. Our digital content manager, KTV 11's MJ Tim, joins us now live with the breakdown. MJ?
Hey guys, like you said, we are new and improved, not only at what you at home are watching, but also what you'll be able to watch online as well. So we blew up the old wonky website and created a colorful content site with ease of access just for you. Check out this breakdown.
Welcome to the new KTVA website. First thing you will notice is our featured story selection at the top of the page. Now these are stories we believe are of high interest to you. Next is the search engine box. Well, that's pretty self-explanatory. Type what you want to find and presto, there it is. Next to that, we've got the latest temperature for the area, but wait, there's more. You click on it, and you get the entire state plus the 5-day forecast. Got a news tip for us? Just check out the news tip button, fill out the form with what you got, and hit submit. See that silhouette over there? Become a member of our site, and you'll get better connected to the new KTVA.com. Find the topic you're interested along the color bar. We've got categories for all types of stories we're covering here for you at KTVA.com. If you just want to get right into it and check out the stories, scroll down and move over the story you want to check out. You'll first get a summary, and if you want to learn more, click and bam, there's the full story. You can watch the video version, or if you don't have time, scroll down and you can just read it. And if you just want to browse around the entire site and see what stories are what, move your mouse around and again, bam, you get a quick summary. Now, to the left of KTVA.com, you'll see the top 10 stories from all our categories. And just below that, you'll find our latest KTVA tweet from our KTVA Twitter page. If you aren't following us, just click follow and bam, there's our page. And now you are all a Twitter with KTVA. Just like what you're watching right now at home is new and improved, so is our website. So enjoy.
Enjoy is right. And what you'll find right now is just the beginning. We've got a lot of special things planned for your online enjoyment. So as we say in the business, stay tuned, or really, stay logged on. Emily and Joe?
All right, thanks, MJ. It looks fantastic. After nearly 50 years in business, a popular Spenard Mexican restaurant is closing its doors. La Mex, home of the Grande, will say adios to its customers December 14th. The restaurant will have a huge blowout party to celebrate their loyal customers over the past 4 decades. They'll be giving away t-shirts they've been collecting over the years, which has been locked away in their vault. Owners say the location has been struggling the past few years, and a recent remodel to the bar didn't help attract any new business. Instead, they say they'll focus their efforts on their other location.
We just aren't, I guess, part of everybody's decision to go out at night. There's a lot more competition. There's a lot of chain restaurants coming up, and they have come up in the last 10 years, and we just don't fit in there.
December 14th will be the last day for the La Mex Spenard location, but don't panic. Their location on Diamond Boulevard will remain open.
President Jimmy Carter called it one of the most important measures passed in his presidency.
We'll hear from him on this 33rd anniversary of the act that protects more than 100 million acres of wild Alaska land. That's coming up.
A change in the weather is on its way, and yes, it does include snow. Details coming up. Welcome back, everybody. Well, today the fog formed pretty early, and if you were driving out there, you had to slow down. Looks like we're going to be seeing another foggy night and morning for us here in the Anchorage Bowl. Right now, it's 8 degrees outside. The wind chill is 8 because we have no wind, and that's one of the hallmarks of fog. Usually, you won't be talking about fog, and it can't form right on site when the wind is calm, and the dew point is 4 degrees, and it looks like when we hit that dew point or approach it, that's when we're going to be able to form some fog out there. Meanwhile, temperatures all around South Central a little bit milder than they have been for the last few days, but it doesn't seem mild over in Glen Allen, where it's 21 degrees below zero, 10 degrees in Valdez, and Cordova is at 16 degrees. Same thing for you in Seward. All of us in South Central are looking at a very good possibility of seeing some patchy fog out there. It's going to be pretty widespread, but just form in patches. Meanwhile, today's low temperature was only about 0, and that actually sounds pretty cold, but it's not. It's noticeably milder than we have seen over the last few days. Same thing with our 12-degree high temperature for today. Normal 25 and 14. So we are rebounding, but it's just a slow rebound as this ridge of high pressure that has been dominating the whole state, in fact, is starting to push on out of here. You can see that some clouds are starting to spin around on the western side of that ridge, and as it does that, we're going to actually look at the weather changing and a chance for even some snow flurries by the end of the week. So what we are talking about here is just a mild morning in the morning compared to what we saw today. In fact, 5 degrees for your morning low. We will see patchy fog in the morning. That'll be sticking around to the afternoon when we'll be about 10 degrees, and then we're going to make it to about 18 or 19 degrees. I think we'll back off by 5 p.m., and we should be looking at about 17 degrees, 12 degrees at 7 o'clock. So here's a look around the area. Girdwood, 20 degrees after starting out at 10, and once again, the very mild air is over in Homer, starting out at 25 degrees, and you're going to warm up about 10 degrees. You have a good chance at seeing some fog as well throughout Homer, and Cordova is 32 degrees. Over in the southeast, you're going to jump on board that fog train as this ridge of high pressure moves into the area. That's going to cool you down enough that you could hit the dew point and see some fog. Don't think it's going to be freezing fog. Juneau is 31 degrees for your high temperature. Skagway about 27 degrees. Light winds for you as this ridge of high pressure that has been sticking around our area moves into your area and just gives you just clear skies. 18 degrees for your high temperature in Talkeetna. Over in Glen Allen, you'll warm up to about 1 degrees. Willow and also in Wasilla, you're going to make it into the single digits, maybe up to about 20 degrees. 22 for the high in Dead Horse. That's because of all the clouds that are rotating around this high pressure ridge. That keeps a blanket on it, and it's a lot colder over in Fort Yukon and Fairbanks, where you're only going to warm up to 14 below and even 10 below. Bethel, 27 degrees for your high temperature. You have a chance of fog tomorrow morning, and in Dillingham about 30 degrees. The mild temperatures once again are over here along the Aleutians, 41 with a chance for rain as that system is working its way through the area. We are expecting rain all along the Aleutians. 7-day forecast is a nice story to tell after we saw the cold temperatures all this week. Now we're talking about temperatures warming up, going in the other direction. No negative temperatures on this board here for the Anchorage Bowl, and we are going to get into the 30s, I think, by Thursday. Thing is, though, we could squeeze out a little bit of snow flurries there.
All right. Thank you so much, Carlos.
It's been called the most important land conservation act in the history of the country.
33 years ago today, President Jimmy Carter signed the Alaska National Interest Lands Conservation Act into law. The measure, known as ANILCA, protects over 100 million acres of federal land in the state. It also created national parks as well as wilderness areas which can never be redeveloped. President Carter says it was a 3-year battle to get the measure into law. He says the Alaska congressional delegation fought it tooth and nail.
The newspapers were against it, the radio stations were against it, the TV stations were against it. All 3 members of the Congress were against it, but the rest of the Congress had better judgment. And maybe somebody in the White House had better judgment.
President Carter made those remarks in a live video presentation that went out to high schools all around the country.
Very good. And right now we want to say hello to Dave Goldman.
Howdy there.
Making sure we've got all of our sports covered.
We have you covered. You know, we're not the only ones excited about a launch here tonight. We've got the high school basketball season for you. Practices around Anchorage, and so are we too. That's what we get paid for. We've got a report on Rontina McCann is coming up next, talking high school hoops. Good stuff coming away.
KTVA 11 Sports with Dave Goldman.
And good evening, everyone. Fun day today. The high school basketball season has kicked off. We've got practices in every gym in town, and our Rontina McCann joins us from West High School with more on a new year.
A day full of excitement and anticipation. Every team in the state of Alaska is undefeated right now. We're at practice at West High School where more than 40 boys are out right now going through strength and conditioning exercises. They're going to have to make cuts eventually for the 3 teams that they will field. This team returns 8 seniors, though, on the varsity squad. They made it to the state tournament last year, and they say the key this year to going deeper is continuity.
It's like Christmas to us. You know, we've been waiting for it, and now it's finally here. They're enthusiastic. You know, this is something that I hope that they love, and when something that you love, you kind of put your all into it.
We also stopped by Diamond High School and talked to senior Tara Thompson about what the Lynx can expect this season.
Our goal is just to take one game at a time and focus on the tiny little things. Like, we can't make as many mistakes and turnovers and everything, so we just got to stay positive and keep moving forward as a team.
And Dave, they're going to have practice for about 2 weeks before their first game, and then the boys and girls both start conference play in January.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Good stuff. Let's go to the colleges now. And the 36th annual Great Alaska Shootout has come and gone. But for UAA Athletic Director Keith Hackett, it was a first. He was hired back in September. Here's his report card.
going back to 1978, the Great Alaska Shootout is what people watched. And I think the history and tradition of the Great Alaska Shootout is just something that people all across the country know about. So I was pleasantly surprised to see the great teams we had here.
What do you want to see improve? What were you happy with for this week?
Well, again, the quality of play was exceptional. We have to now get more people in the arena. We have to improve attendance. We're going to work awfully hard to enhance the field. You know, try to get out there, make connections, develop relationships across the United States with some of those schools that have been here before and talk to them about coming back to the Great Alaska Shootout.
And a big help, you're going on campus to a brand new building next year.
Oh, the Alaska Airlines Center is going to provide some of that sizzle that we need to make it another, you know, to help us to grow the event. And the Alaska Airlines Center is going to change how people view the University of Alaska, the city of Anchorage, and the state of Alaska. It's going to be a difference maker, and I think it's going to help our tournament really begin to move forward.
Athletic Director Keith Hackett. Let's talk hockey now. Alaska Aces are on their longest road trip of the season. How's 8 games in 21 days? That's a biggie. 11-5 now, and the Aces are 4th in the ECHL West after being swept by Colorado last week. On tap this week, 3 games with the Utah Grizzlies starting on Wednesday. Head coach Rob Murray says it helps build team unity off the ice.
You're living with the same guy every day, and it's a grind. But I think we had one of these or 2 of these 2 years ago, and you know, I know it's cliche and all, but you know, we just got to take it one game at a time and just keep, you know, plugging away and you know, make sure that we take our rest when we can and have some fun on the road.
Folks, the Seahawks aren't playing. Well, they are playing, but if you know what I mean, they aren't playing. Look at that, 34-7 now. We got the highlights coming up for you. I mean, look, they're doing that to the Saints. This is a team that they thought could be a Super Bowl team. I think the Seahawks are for real, folks. Highlights coming up at 10.
All right, very good. Thanks a lot, Dave. Well, the national media is catching on to something that people in Alaska have known for years.
Alaska is home to some of the top slopes around. The evening news will be right back.
Coming up tonight at 10, the Anchorage School Board will vote on a proposed charter school tonight.
If approved, Anchorage Stream Academy would focus on science, technology, engineering, and math. We'll tell you what the board decides. Be sure to tune in on the same time. Nightcast starts at 10 o'clock exactly.
The secret is out. Alaska is a great place to ski.
A pair of national nods are giving local ski spots some high honors. NationalGeographic.com says Girdwood is one of the world's top 25 ski towns, and Powder Magazine's Ski Town Throwdown competition started with 64 ski areas across North America. For the first time, Juneau's famous terrain, Eagle Crest Ski Area, is up against U.S. ski town Mount Bohemia in Michigan in the Final Four. From now until December 3rd, fans can support Eagle Crest by voting on Powder Magazine's Facebook page. Carlos, when are we going to see some snow for skiing?
Need some more.
Flurries coming by the end of the week, but it's only flurries. It's not really going to mean much in the mountains. As we look at this 7-day forecast, you can see we have one more day of well below average temperatures. Then the clouds move in. Then it opens up the door for snow starting on Thursday all the way through Saturday. Good news, temperatures in the 30s by then.